He is now a 9 by 12 carpet.
And I was back 9/12.
9 to 12?
9, 12.
Hey guys, my name's DocJade. Witty intro line goes here. I forgot to write the joke. Do you have claustrophobia? Then go away, because today we're playing on a 9 by 12 Factorio world, which is the absolute minimum required to beat the game. Let's get started. As usual, I'll chop down some trees, there aren't any rocket debris, and start mining iron ore. Even with the world as small as it is, early game is pretty much the same as always, except for the lack of walking and limited mining capacity. All of this mining is kicking off a ton of pollution, but I'm pretty sure we'll be safe from biter attacks, although I do die once in this run. Okay, first up is automation, 10 red science. That's the first of many. After tearing everything down to make room for power production, I didn't have enough materials to make a lab, so time to mine yet again. A little while later, there's the lab. And that's automation. Next up is electronics, which I didn't quite have enough science for, so time to tear it all down and start mining again. Due to the small amount of space, I constantly have to tear down and reset up builds, which gets a tad annoying. Oh well, let's make some intermediates while we wait. Electronics, next is green science. I managed to sneak in miners for everything while also researching, but there's not much else to do on here except wait on this tiny pie in the sky. Eventually though, green science. Next is steel. Our first logistics science, it only took 50 minutes. Steel, now for assembly machine 2s. As usual, I'm only using assembly machine 2s for this run, just to make you mad. And I will also not be using beacons for hopefully obvious reasons. While I was talking, automation 2 finished. Next up, I'll make some steel, then research optics, then solar panels, which is 250 science, holy crap. Oh well, let's get started on that. I squeezed an electric miner in here for just a tad more iron. Making science is actually quite a bit faster than researching at the moment, so we can start stockpiling it for later. Solar, next is engines. Engines. Next is fluid handling. We're currently working our way up to plastic and red circuits, so we can start using productivity modules in the labs as soon as possible to save a ton of science. Fluid handling, now for oil processing. Might be a bit tricky to fit, but we'll see. While waiting, there's not really much to do, so I just kept messing around with the iron mining setup. Eventually though, oil processing. Now for plastic, and even more waiting. There's our 1000th red science. I can't wait to make thousands more. Might as well make some engines while we wait. We'll need a lot of them later for blue science. Okay then, I guess I only wanted 48 engines. Time for more green science, and that's 1,000 of them too. After grabbing some more copper, there's plastic. Now for red circuits, 200 of each science, but at least the research time is lower per science. Our science stockpiling is going pretty well, all things considered. I wonder how long we can keep this up. I even started running out of inventory space. Red circuits, now for modules, which I forgot to record the research for. Now for those productivity modules, which don't take very long at all. Then speed modules. Speed modules aren't really used much in this run, since we're usually running in a power deficit, but we still need to research them to unlock the rocket. Actually, let's do efficiency modules first. And before we finish that, let's go make some plastic. Fitting oil in here might look a little intimidating at first, but it's actually not that bad. Plastic is super simple, but it's a little slow due to only having solar power. Also, these small power poles are a tad limiting, so we'll research the medium power poles after efficiency modules. Actually, I changed my mind. Let's research those power poles right now, and then efficiency modules. I even set up some more labs to speed up the process. Well, after finishing the power poles, I changed my mind again, so back to plastic we go. Our first petroleum only took 9 hours. This entire setup is super slow, but it should be fine later on once we have those efficiency modules. The biggest drawback of solar by far is getting nothing done at night, but I don't see a feasible way to fit steam power into here, so this is as good as it's going to get. After gathering enough plastic for 12 modules, I tore everything down, started handcrafting the red circuits, and finally finished researching efficiency modules. Next up is sulfur. We'll need it for blue science. Now I'll make some modules, 11 efficiency modules for the oil setup, and 2 productivity modules for the labs. Since researching takes so long, there's really no time penalty to just handcraft all the science, so might as well. There's sulfur, now for blue science, which only takes about 10 minutes. To keep working towards productivity module 3s, we'll need to start making blue science. Fun. The sulfur setup is almost identical to the plastic setup, sans minor and sans serif. Efficiency modules should make it slightly more bearable though. After a slight redesign to fit a third solar panel, I'll remove the third solar panel to replace it with a lab so I could research fast inserters, which I never actually finished. I'll start crafting some blue science, but we'll need more plastic for red circuits, so let's switch back to that. There's our first blue science, just under 11 hours into the run. Luckily, it only gets worse from here. Time to start working on blue circuits, but at 300 of each science, it's pretty darn expensive. So it's time to start making these science with productivity modules. This takes a ton longer, but it should pay off in the long run. And once I felt I had enough plastic, I tore down oil production and replaced it all with engines. Making blue science is a very, very slow process, but once I've stockpiled almost 300 science, we can get back to research. A little over an hour later, that's blue circuits. Now for productivity 2, which I don't have nearly enough science for. So, back to making even more blue science. Let's see how long it takes to start researching again. First, I spent around 3 hours just stockpiling ore, then I took a 2.5 hour detour to research steel furnaces to speed up the process a bit. After about 3 hours of stockpiling iron, I started making some engines, made more red and green circuits, and then took yet another detour to research speed modules, which took about 30 minutes. I threw in some speed modules to hopefully, well, speed up the crafting process. 2 hours after that, I started making the blue science and started researching again. Altogether, it took around 10 hours to just start researching again, and that's only blue science. Yikes. There's productivity 2. Next is Efficiency 2, which is the last efficiency module we will unlock. I should throw Productivity 2 into the labs as soon as possible, but we don't have any blue circuits yet, so let's make some sulfur for that. A full chest should last a while. Time for the sulfuric acid. Super easy, but I forgot to make the red circuits for blue circuits. Oops. There's one module, and there's 2 more. Now our labs get a 12% productivity bonus. Not bad. Handcrafting all the ingredients for blue circuits sure does take a long time though. 2 more. I'll squeeze even more productivity into the chain by using productivity for the green and red circuits too. But this makes everything take substantially longer. But we are going to need a lot of blue circuits for yellow science, so might as well make as many as we can right now. But once I ran out of materials, and patience, back to research. Efficiency module 2s. Now for logistics. Feels kind of weird researching this almost 33 hours into the game, but whatever. Next is logistics 2. After forgetting to record logistics 2 finishing, next is railway. We need it for purple science. After failing to switch to a rail base, I'll start researching electric furnaces and make more red circuits until we run out of plastic. Once we run out of red circuits, the cycle continues. More plastic, more plates, more copper wire on iron substrates. Let's detour yet again to finish researching fast inserters to speed up circuit production. But it still takes a very long time. Skipping ahead a bit, after making more red circuits, it's back to blue science again. And there's electric furnaces. Now for purple science, and then productivity module 3s. But now we need to actually make that purple science, which is mildly expensive to put it lightly. First up is electric furnaces. After making some bricks and getting mad that I can't use productivity modules, I ran out of steel. Okay, time to make some rails. I'll just hand feed the iron sticks. Might as well make some more electric furnaces while we're at it. Then we can swap out the rails for productivity modules. Once those are done, time to start cranking out the science. 70 hours to purple science. I can already tell that yellow science is going to take forever. Eventually, we ran out of rails, but at least we made over 200 science. As usual, researching is very slow. I eventually switched to steam power just to speed it up a bit. Until yet again, we ran out of blue science. So again, Plastic, steel, plates, green circuits, more copper, a quick detour for rails, then red circuits, engines, and finally back to the science. Until I ran out of engines. Luckily, I had more than plenty of blue science, and purple science ended up being the bottleneck. Productivity 3. I only have enough blue circuits to make 2 of them right now, but I'll definitely need 4 for the rocket silo. So, time for more blue circuits. And this is getting pretty repetitive, so I'll just skip ahead 16 hours to the next science, which is advanced oil processing. Next up is lubricant. And wouldn't you believe it, we're out of blue science again. Now we're low on green science. I've been wasting a lot of resources by crafting the green science by hand, so I actually used an assembler this time. Come on. Oh great, I'm out of iron too. There. Red science is so cheap that I don't mind losing the tiny amount of extra resources it takes to handcraft. Lubricant. Next up is concrete, which I already have all the science for, so let's skip over that. Then we can do flammables, which we don't have all the science for. Completely disregarding what I just said about productivity, I'll handcraft some more. Sick. Next is batteries. Easy. Then low density structure. Now let's play a game. Do I, A, need more blue science, B, need more blue science, C, need more blue science, or D, all of the above? If you picked B, you're right. I'm out of blue science. Constantly tearing down and rebuilding these setups is fine, but the annoying part is having to move all of the items around. I almost always spend more time role-playing as an Amazon warehouse employee than actually building. But eventually, I stockpile enough engines to research low-density structure. Next up, electric engines, which are surprisingly inexpensive to research. Spending all of that time making ingredients for blue science paid off, I shouldn't have to make more for quite a while. But the grind continues. Time to make way too much red science. Now we can overproduce green science as well. I'll even make the gears with productivity. Electric engines, now for speed module 2s. Easy. Next is rocket fuel. I didn't go quite as overboard on the green science, we'll definitely need more soon. Rocket fuel, next up is robotics and utility science. Now for speed module 3s, which we don't have the purple science for, so time to tear down the labs. Iron. Green circuits, red circuits, but I forgot copper, red circuits for real this time, productivity modules, bricks, electric furnaces, and finally purple science. After making almost 300, I'll throw down the lab, and that's speed module 3s. You would think next up is rocket control units for the silo, but actually we need accumulators so we can make a satellite because I'm insane. Luckily, it's super cheap. Okay, now for the rest of the science. Instead of doing them one by one, I'm going to try to stockpile all of the science I need so I can do it all at once. Which means I need 3,300 of each science, except for purple science. It's 9% off. Well, might as well start with the hardest one first. Time for a ton of copper and iron so we can make a ton of green circuits. Electric engines might be a little tricky. I have no idea how I'm going to set up lube. Next up is a chest of plastic, then more copper. Then we can turn both of those into more red circuits. Putting it all together, blue circuits. Then, after a few more green circuits, let's get started on electric engines. The problem is, we're so severely space constrained that we can't just turn the heavy oil directly into lube. So instead, we can throw it all into a tank. Unfortunately, there isn't a nice way to handle the other two fluids, so I just had to sit there and clear these pipes for a little over 3 hours. But finally, with a full tank, we can start making lube, and by extension, electric engines. After making probably way too many electric engines, we had over 16,000 heavy oil left over. Now time for steel and some batteries, that I unfortunately forgot the copper for. After obtaining the copper in question, we now have batteries. Can we make flying robot frames now, perchance? Yes we can. Hopefully that'll be plenty. After making a few more blue circuits just in case and grabbing plastic and copper for low density structure, we can start making the science. It only took 326 hours to get here, but we've got yellow science. We ran out of copper plates about 650 science in, but that's no big deal. I didn't quite hit the mark. I only made about 1,300 yellow science, but whatever, I'll just make more later. We do have enough science on hand to research the rocket control units, though, so I'll do that. Now for the silo. There's no way I have enough science for it, but whatever. The science we currently have the least of is, say it together with me, blue science. I had some more supplies laying around, so I managed to make about 200 more. Then green science ran out. So time for the usual copper and iron plates, green circuits, plastic, more copper. Hey, wait a second, why are we making red circuits? I thought we needed green science. Oh, productivity modules. I guess we're making purple science first. And there's the furnaces, yep, definitely purple science. After grabbing more steel to make a precisely inaccurate amount of electric furnaces, I'll grab some more stone for rails, make the rails, and then boom, science. Also gears. I haven't completely forgotten about green science. Eventually, we ran out of productivity modules. Luckily, there's this cool thing we can do, and it's called making more of them. Then we ran out of rails. We need about 4,000 more. So, after throwing together a setup for them, we are once again left one craft short of a productivity bonus. After scrounging together the ingredients for one more electric furnace, that's 1,700 purple science down. Now for some green science. Inserters, iron, and belts later, that's 1,800 green science. I'll start researching again, but there's still a bit more blue science needed. Skipping forwards 40 hours, there's 900 more. And that's the silo, 512 hours. Still need to research the satellite though. We get about 12% done before we run out of yellow science, so time to rip through the entire yellow science rigmarole again. For brevity's sake, here's the entire 168 hours cut up and then sped up to 2000% speed. Yeah, even at this speed it still takes a while. Oh, I almost forgot. I'm legally obligated to inform you that you should hit that subscribe button and ring that bell, and I'm not allowed within 300 feet of a library while holding a bottle of mustard. Anyways, after finishing stockpiling all of the items I wanted, I realized I accidentally made 3 times more items than I needed. Oh well. I made a little over 1,000 science, and then I started working on blue science. Iron, engines, sulfur, the whole shebang, you know it by now. Thankfully, I already had plenty of red circuits laying around, so I was easily able to churn out over 1,000 blue science. Time to start researching again. 10 hours later, the new lowest science is purple and green science. While doing the math to figure out how many materials I'd need for the science, I almost made the exact same mistake I made with yellow science. Turns out I already had enough red circuits on hand. Neat. We also had plenty of steel for the rails, so now all we need is the stone. And then we can pump those out. Now for electric furnaces, which also don't take very long. After moving all of the items 10 feet to the right, we can start making science. Well, it looks like I accidentally made too many furnaces, so the ratio was a bit off. I'll sneak some red circuit production up in here. A bit over half an hour later, I completely ran out of coal. Whatever, I'll tear everything down and start making more green science. After that finishes, I'll set the labs back up. We should have enough of every science to finish the research once I can scrounge together the last bit of yellow and red science. Thankfully, I already had quite a bit stockpiled from my miscalculation earlier, so yellow science is no biggie. And I'll just handcraft the red science. But in possibly the biggest blunder of all time, I forgot to put the productivity modules in the lab. I'm such an idiot, in fact, I can't even spell idiot. So yet again, not enough yellow science. After a quick setup to grab some more copper plates, I started researching again, and forgot to use the productivity modules for a second time. And due to that, we stopped researching at 99% because we're missing purple science. Great. After quickly making enough bricks for 3 more science packs, that's still not enough, so 3 more it is then. After a mere 741 hours, that's space science. Very exciting. Now we just need to make a satellite and launch the rocket. Honestly, the satellite doesn't look too hard to make, the only tricky bit will be the rocket fuel. I'll grab some more copper and sulfur for batteries, make the said batteries, which I totally didn't miss the target on 3 times in a row, then start handcrafting the solar panels and accumulators. I don't have quite enough copper for the low density structure, so a bit more of that, then it's time for solid fuel, then rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is a little wacky, but since I don't need too much of it, clearing the pipes isn't that big of a deal. Now I can handcraft the satellite. Yes, the low density structure takes a while to handcraft, but I just went and got lunch while I waited. Now for the rocket silo. I actually already have all the ingredients on hand, except for concrete. So after quickly making 1,000 of that, there's the silo. After hopping in a testing world to see how many of each item I'd need, I'll start stockpiling 740 of each rocket ingredient. I'll do rocket control units first, since I already have all the blue circuits I need. What I don't have is the speed modules, so the usual plate, green circuit, copper, plastic, and red circuit cycle later, I'll start making them. That's 190, not quite 740. Rinse and repeat. That's the full 740. Next is rocket fuel, which is super duper easy, just a lot of stockpiling solid fuel, then gathering enough light oil. Boom, 740. Now for the low density structure, which we'll need almost 15,000 copper plates for. No biggie, this will still be faster than the rocket control units. After also grabbing steel and plastic, time to wait 5 hours for it all to craft. Okay, now we just need to throw down the silo. And here's the reason the world is 12 by 9. You need 3 more tiles to fit a solar panel next to the rocket silo. Now we just have to wait for the rocket to craft. If you look very closely, it is moving. I'll throw a second solar panel down, but I don't have quite enough storage space, so I'll start handcrafting random junk. It's still unbelievably slow, but you can actually start to see the rocket about 10 minutes later. 4 more minutes, and we're ready for launch. Final time, 828 hours, 9 minutes, and 45 seconds. After grabbing the space science from the silo, we can take a look at the production tab. We averaged around 1/10 of a science per minute, which honestly, I think that's more of a rounding error than anything. I'd like to take a moment to thank my supporters on Ko-fi. Their support is so overwhelming, in fact, that I have to make this thank you message longer so they don't all scroll by too quickly. Thank you all a ton for making videos like this possible. And that's all for today. My name's DocJade. Bye-bye.